Moses ascends for 40 days and 40 nights, does not eat, does not drink, does not sleep. 40 days passed for us on earth. How much time passed for Moses in heaven? What was the opening at Mount Sinai? It sounds like the cloud was some type of a transportation device within the context of an open vortex. The entire mountain seemed to have been subject to some radical alteration of the normal physical laws that govern us. If this has any kind of a literal understanding to it, then a doorway to heaven would have been an alteration in the fabric of space as we understand it today, possibly of time itself. In light of our modern understandings, we need to reinvestigate what the Bible is actually teaching us.
If black holes can and do exist here on Earth, what impact would they have? Could they open up gateways that, if harnessed, would allow us to quickly travel back and forth through space and time? And if so, have they been used by extraterrestrials to visit Earth for centuries? Perhaps further clues can be found by examining ancient knowledge about powerful vortices carved in stone. Space, March 26, 2016. The Hitomi, an X-ray astronomy satellite launched by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency just 5 weeks earlier, begins spinning uncontrollably. The onboard altitude control system is unable to slow down the spinning, and over a period of hours, the satellite breaks into 10 fragments and is observed tumbling out of orbit. In the ensuing investigation, a significant factor emerges. The satellite star tracker system, designed to keep it properly oriented, experienced glitches whenever the satellite passed through a field of high radiation known as the South Atlantic Anomaly.
The Earth's magnetic field is generated deep in its interior by motions of liquid iron and other substances, the thermal currents generated by radioactive decay in the core, etc. So it's a very complex phenomenon. What we see on the surface looks like a magnetic field of a bar magnet, but apparently there's some kind of imperfection in it that is very deep, and it creates a very localized reversal of the Earth's magnetic field. This is called the South Atlantic Anomaly. Astronauts flying through this region, or satellites, are exposed to a very brief but intense field of radiation.
Comprising the area of the magnetosphere above much of South America, as well as the Atlantic Ocean, the South Atlantic Anomaly has caused problems with spacecraft for decades. It is for this reason that the International Space Station requires extra shielding when passing by it, and why NASA laptops have crashed when the space shuttle flies through its intense levels of radiation.
When you go through the South Atlantic Anomaly, strange things happen. There are flashes of light, electronics will malfunction, and even spacecraft have to be specially shielded to go through this area.
Although scientists understand the nature of the South Atlantic Anomaly, there is disagreement as to its effects, and there is an increasing number who believe it may also create vortexes that can alter both time and space.
Nature has found thresholds and doorways that people don't even know exist that can open under these specific circumstances. If one can change the metric of space-time directly with electromagnetic fields, then nature itself, because of the enormous electromagnetic fields it develops in weather disturbances, for example, could possibly create its own electrodynamic black hole or rotating black hole solutions.
Many ancient ancient astronaut theorists support this claim and suggest that our ancestors were so aware of it that they even carved numerous representations of it in stone all over the world. Inga, Brazil. Here stands an ancient rock formation known as the Inga Stone. The formation is covered with carved symbols that are of unknown origin and meaning. But some researchers claim to have at least partially deciphered the carvings and suggest they reveal that whoever made them had advanced knowledge of both astronomy and physics.
In the Inga River in Brazil, we find this incredible 150-foot-long, 12-foot-tall stone, the Inga Stone. It's covered with the most immaculate carvings, highly detailed, but totally mysterious. We don't know who exactly created them for what purpose.
They have the most strange carvings on the rock on the surface. There's also another petroglyphs and geoglyphs around the Inga Stone, and some of them have to do with constellations. The Southern Cross, Milky Way, the Orion constellation, and other constellations that were described in that area as well. Some people interpret that the spirals around it had to do with energy, vortex of energy. There is a magnetic anomalies on the Inga Stone, that's for sure.
We know that the Inga Stone contains astronomical data. And what's interesting about this is that the native peoples typically didn't make astronomical depictions. They made depictions of supernatural beings. So this kind of hints us in the idea that maybe the origin of this knowledge is indeed extraterrestrial beings.
Curiously, the Inga Stone is located within the exact same geographical area as the South Atlantic anomaly. Is it possible that the stone's enigmatic carvings were inspired by the arrival of an ancient space traveler, one who had landed here centuries ago? And if so, could the South Atlantic anomaly, while perhaps the largest and best known of its kind, be one of many similar anomalies that exist here on Earth? The Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea, Easter Island, the Indus Valley. These are just a few of 12 triangular zones spaced evenly around the globe known for disappearances, high energy, and other unexplainable phenomena. Collectively, they have been referred to as the vile vortices.
The Scottish-born biologist and cryptozoologist and writer Ivan T. Sanderson came up with a theory to do with paranormal phenomena occurring in different parts of the world. He believed that there were 12 principal locations where this would actually take place, and he referred to them as the vile vortices. In other words, that they were quite violent in their action.
Sanderson was trying to find an explanation to all of these disappearances, and it was this geometric pattern on the Earth that he thought was a solution to what was going on, and that certain spots on the Earth were just anomalistic and had these strange energy patterns.
There is no question that his work proves to me that there's a lot more that we don't understand about this planet. Whether it's natural or some kind of paranormal episode, I don't know. But there's no question this planet is very, very unusual when it comes to these certain spots.
If extraterrestrials visited Earth in the distant past, maybe they simply harnessed what was already present in the Earth, and that they had a technology to bring these places into a higher energetic state where they could use them as black holes or wormholes or for other purposes.
Is it possible that the so-called vile vortices, in addition to phenomena like the South Atlantic anomaly, could help explain mysterious disappearances, and that there are locations on Earth where conditions are optimal for the creation of black holes or portals? suddenly thrust into another space or time.
If you look at the bottom of a black hole, it could be a place where you want to think of a hole actually in space and time that reconnects somewhere else. And so you can go through the black hole like a door or a tunnel and end up either in another part of the universe or in another actual universe.
Could extraterrestrials have used these so-called portals to visit the Earth in the distant past? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and suggest further clues can be found by investigating one of the places that in recent decades has been the site of more curious disappearances than any other. The Bermuda Triangle. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. December 5th, 1945. 5 Navy Avenger torpedo bombers, collectively known as Flight 19, set out on a training mission over the Bermuda Triangle. Without warning, all 5 bombers experienced malfunctions with their onboard instruments. They contact air control and report their mysterious difficulties.
And all 5 of their compasses were not working correctly, and they had 2 navigational instruments that they could use, and they were not working properly either. It caused total confusion, and they didn't know their position. So they did what a lot of other pilots have done in the past. They made a series of turns, and that's what causes pilots to become confused.
The planes disappeared from radar, and their last communication consisted of nothing but eerie static. The Navy immediately launched 2 seaplanes to search for the missing bombers. Just 20 minutes after takeoff, they too vanished.
The unusual thing is they didn't find any parts, no life jackets or life rafts.
Despite some claims in more modern times that Grumman Avengers have been discovered that might have been Flight 19, the actuality of the case is that it is a mystery of exactly what happened.
The disappearance of Flight 19 is one of many bizarre and unexplainable events that have taken place in the area that is now known as the Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle is really located off of Florida. The northern point of it is the island of Bermuda. It then goes down to essentially southern Florida and then out into the Bahamas. And this is an area that has historically had strange phenomena. It is something that goes back all the way to the time of Christopher Columbus as he passed through this area, because he found that his compasses strangely didn't work as he passed through what we now know as the Bermuda Triangle. He also saw mysterious lights in the same area just a few days later after his compasses failed. The famous Mary Celeste ship was found in the Bermuda Triangle without any crew on it at all, and no one could explain it.
What's very bizarre about some of these instances is that these people vanished in front of multiple witnesses in circumstances that seem to be impossible. It's like these people were here and they suddenly just blinked out as if they walked off the surface of the earth.
My guess is that you're dealing with something that is dimensional, and when you go through it, there's that possibility you may never come back.
For decades, scientists and researchers have struggled to find a cause for the mysterious disappearances. They are equally puzzled by the numerous reports of everything from instrument failure to compasses that strangely point to true north instead of magnetic north.
Electromagnetic phenomena associated with thunderstorms that can perhaps open up portals in space-time and that we never would have thought possible. An analogy is that lightning is still poorly understood. Lightning typically carries several million volts. This is not sufficient voltage to jump from a cloud miles above the ground to the ground or between clouds. Yet nature does it Combine that with the strange location of the Bermuda Triangle, or the collision point of these cold and warm currents, you can have a playground for exotic physics, I believe.
Light storm clouds, lightning flashes, and powerful ocean currents located within the Bermuda Triangle have unexpected and otherworldly effects. Ancient astronaut theorists believe such an audacious theory is possible and point to the story of pilot Bruce Gernon as the best evidence that such incredible phenomena can and do exist.
On December the 4th, 1970, almost 25 years to the day after the disappearance of Flight 19, a pilot by the name of Bruce Gernon was in an aircraft flying between Andros Island and the island of Bimini when he had an absolute incredible experience.
The controls on his plane also went crazy. He felt in the end that somehow he had been in the Bermuda Triangle when it was activated. Since that time, researchers have been trying to find out exactly what happened during that flight.
In March 2018, ancient astronaut theorist and author David Childress traveled to an airfield in West Palm Beach, Florida, to meet face-to-face with one of the very few men who experienced the strange power of the Bermuda Triangle and survived.
So what's our plan today? Well, we're going to recreate our flight that I had in 1970. And I can show you on the chart here. We're going to go direct from Palm Beach right to this curved area of Andros Island on the western shore. And we're going to go down to 1,000 feet at this point. And that's where my experience in 1970 began. I am the only living person that's flown through the heart of it and then exited what I call a time tunnel vortex and survived. So have you ever retraced your flight? I've never been on the exact flight path that I was when I had this event. And that's what I'd like to take you through today. Exact flight path.
Into the Bermuda Triangle, and this isn't a one-way flight, is it?
No, sir. We'll be back.
Okay, I'm ready.
At the North Palm Beach County Airport, located 20 miles outside of West Palm Beach, Florida, author and researcher David Childress and professional pilot Bruce Gernon are about to retrace the exact path of a mysterious flight that Gernon made nearly 5 decades ago. It was a flight over the region of the Atlantic Ocean known as the Bermuda Triangle, during which Gernon claims to have experienced an inexplicable shift